Jay-Z gave Cardi B his blessing, but did she do his classic justice? That's the question. So Cardi B's Imaginary Playerz interpolates the iconic melody from Jay-Z's 1996 hit Imaginary Playerz. We were all outside. We know this one. Cardi B confirmed she received Jay's personal approval for the sample. Imaginary Playerz subsequently propelled Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt back onto the Billboard charts because of the recent, I guess, surge of people streaming and, you know, things of that nature.
Was that on Reasonable Doubt or was that in My Lifetime?
It was on In My Lifetime. I don't know why they put Reasonable Doubt in there.
Yeah, it was volume 1.
It was volume 1 for In My Lifetime. One of my favorite Jay albums, if we're being honest.
So that's interesting that maybe Reasonable Doubt is charting, but it's not that album.
Maybe people doing homework and going in order. I don't know, but it definitely was on volume 1 for sure. So I mean, we can jump right in. So does Jay-Z's approval of Cardi's Imaginary Playerz sample validate the track, or does it ultimately have to stand on its own in terms of its own merits? Because this one is one of those ones where I'm seeing people, it's kind of 50-50 from what I see. You know, did it do it justice? There's a side here and there's a side that says she did what she was supposed to do. So how do you guys feel about it? And Terry, I'll come to you first. What you think, bro?
Me first? Okay.
Yeah, I'm coming to you first.
Honestly, Jay-Z giving the approval for the sample is pretty much all the approval that's needed.
Yeah.
As far as that's concerned. I think people are reading too much into this. I mean, this is part of what happens in the music game. Hip hop, we know, is a sampling art form. For Jay to extend the sample to her, he in turns gets paid for this as well. You know what I'm saying?
Or does Renee and Angela?
I was say Renee and Angela.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because that's the original.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course they get paid too. But she got on the beat. She did what she was supposed to do as Cardi B. I mean, what do you think Cardi B is supposed to be rapping like?
Well, I
not you specifically, but like just in general. This is what this. I mean, and she rode his flow. I mean, it's the same cadence mixed with a little bit of her own flavor. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is, and it did what it was supposed to do. Now, are her core fan base, are they going to appreciate it the same way that somebody that is familiar with the original track going to appreciate it? That's the only kind of trade-off, or, you know what I'm saying, question I would have in mind, because they're not really run-of-the-mill hip-hop fans like that, per se, or they're not looking at Cardi B to give them a hip-hop track. They're looking at Cardi B to give them a dance track, a party track, a club track, versus this is, you know what I'm saying, her kind of flexing her muscle a little bit.
So I'm going to go to, actually, I think that's a good point. Metron, I'm going to come to you, and I'm echoing what I asked Terry, but in terms of it being able to stand on its own versus being about Jay, I guess, clearing the sample. Like, where are you on that, and just your overall thoughts on the record?
Yeah, man, I didn't hate the record at all. I mean, Cardi can rap when she's trying to rap, you know what I mean? So, I mean, if it were a situation, to Terry's point, where, I don't know, you had a Lil Yachty, Cold Like Minnesota flow over that, it would not have made sense. But I feel like the fact that she kind of matched the cadence, and honestly, the Renee Angela sample stands on its own. I feel like it was a good record, but it's also interesting because that Imaginary Playerz was not a hit record.
So it wasn't even a single.
Yeah, it wasn't even a single. I mean, it's really, really kind of a deeper album cut. Like, we play it at Coaches a lot, stuff like that. But your average hip hop fan doesn't even know that record. So I think it's kind of interesting how, the tide turns, and then you have people doing the research. Now, I do question the whole strategy. I saw people on, Instagram being like, "Oh, there's levels to this. Jay's collecting all this money." Like, sometimes stuff just happens. Sometimes things just naturally occur, and I don't know why she chose that particular record to reinterpret. But I don't think that it was some Jay-Z master plan to have all of his albums charting because Cardi B is going to do this. But at the same time, I also cannot be mad that Cardi fans might go exploring other records. Like, if it leads them to checking out Reasonable Doubt, which they haven't heard, then to me that's really no different than all of us going back and exploring samples that we didn't even know about that, you know, people were flipping back in the day. So I think it is just the nature of hip hop in the sampled art form that it is. So, but yeah, I mean, I thought it was dope for what it was.
Let me ask you this, and then I'll get to the rest of the fellas. Does this get run or no from you?
I mean, I would,
or is it too early for me to ask you that?
It's not a record that I see myself playing for a considerable amount of time, but in the moment, you know, if I'm at the right place, if I'm at Coach's, yeah, I could run the Renee and Angela into the Jay, into the Cardi, and it would make sense, but I'm not telling you that in the year 2031, I'm playing this at parties. I'm probably not, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, for the moment, it is what it is. I like it enough, you know what I mean? I think that's kind of where I kind of leave it now. We'll see what happens with it, but I mean, to be real, like, I don't like it more than Jay's, obviously.
Yeah,
so like at the end of the day, I'm always going to come back to that, you know, to the original Jay record if I'm really feeling an imaginary Playerz song.
No, for sure. Jay, what you think?
I actually like this record. You know, when I heard the concept of it, I was like, nah, I'm cool. You know, but then, like I said, Cardi didn't turn this into some ass shaking anthem, and nothing against ass shaking anthems. I'm you know, there's a time and a place for to enjoy and ass shaking. But I thoroughly, you know, I like it mostly because of the flow Cardi has here, and that she is honestly thematically staying on what Jay did initially. Like, Jay was taught this, where you get the 4.0 versus the 4.6. You know what I'm saying? Like, so Cardi's doing a lot of that. You know, it's kind of tone deaf considering where a lot of people in America are as far as not being able to afford groceries, and talking about how rich you are. And, you know, that's kind of a weird thing. But honestly, when we look to entertainers, we're not really looking to a certain level of reality grounding. So I can't be mad at that. You know, and I think it's awesome if people are going back to listen to what Jay did initially. You know, now we're talking about a song that's almost 30 years old.
Yeah, true.
You know, and if we can get people to, you know, connect the dots in that way, you know, it's always good culturally when that sort of thing happens. But, you know, I also have to take into account, because this is what I do, you know, okay, how is this going to work with what we consider to be a rollout? You know, her album comes out in a month. And is there another song that's going to, you know, come behind this? It's really going to say, okay, now Cardi's back with her second album. And it's crazy, like 6-7 years. Like, it took, this is a long time for a follow-up.
I wasn't counting.
This is the second single. Yeah. You know, and a lot of times people look at chart positions. Whatever this song does, I don't think it's anything I don't see it being anything that really works on radio. It's not going to work in the mainstream clubs where, you know, when the music is geared towards women 21 to 29. I think it's going to be something that, you know, people like us, hip hop heads who remember the original, have conversations about. And like I said, I don't have particularly anything bad to say about it. So shout out to Cardi, shout out to Jay, you know, shout out to Angela Winbush, St. Louis in the building. You know how it go.
I'll tell you where it will work.
Where?
It's going to work on the East Coast. And it makes perfect sense for her to use that beat being from New York, because New York, I think New York is trying to get their bearings back as far as
identity.
Yeah. As far as being, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they're the mecca of hip hop at the end of the day.
Right.
This works for that crowd and for that region. I guarantee you that they're spinning this right now.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. Well, now, something else that I had considered after listening to it was it kind of reminded me to a degree, but in a different way, of Big Pun and Fat Joe flipping Deep Cover. But the ironic part is that I think the Big Pun record ended up having more legs than the original Dre joint, right? So because of that classic Big Pun verse and everything, this isn't going to be that.
No, you can make it.
You know what I mean?
That's
so
a good point.
It's a good record, but this is not gonna overtake Jay's record by any means.
You actually hit on something there Metronome, because I was going to lead into. We had another question set up, and that really was, how does Cardi B's version compare to other artists who have sampled or reinterpreted classic hip hop tracks? You just brought up a classic, iconic remake. It's one of those ones where it was powerful enough to make you be like, you have to scratch your head and say, yeah, I remember the OG, but I'm thinking Italy. That's what draws me to it.
Right.
To your point.
I mean, there's not that many
That's what
versions
I was about to ask.
where the remake is like clearly better than the original one. I mean, I'd be curious which ones
Lottie
you guys.
Dottie.
Yeah.
Lottie Dottie is good.
Snoop Lottie Dottie for sure.
Yeah, that's good.
Nah,
You like the original better than the Snoop version?
I like Slick Rick's version.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes
Who are
sense.
you talking to? I mean,
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, I like Slick Rick's version better, but Snoop's version works
was
and
incredible.
it served it justice.
It's more of a song.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we dig deep, though, outside of the two that we've named, is there anything where, the remake was kind of to the point where you had to scratch your head to be like, yeah, they did that?
I'm really thinking, man.
I can't
Remember
think
they
of
did
any.
a whole project where it was all remakes. It was like, because I remember
Who's they? What do you mean?
it was. I remember they did a whole project. I remember like the Dog Pound did Knick Knack Patty Whack.
Oh,
They had
yeah.
Bone Thugs do Straight Outta Compton, or Gangsta. It was a whole project where they basically had new and current rappers remake. I think this came about like maybe 96, 97.
Sounds horrible.
I'll say
It really wasn't
like the
it really
terrible
wasn't
rap
great.
version
I
of Kids
remember
Bop.
I remember the Def Squad did Rapper's Delight, which I liked.
I do remember that.
I remember that one.
Yeah. But
sure.
the rest of the project was like, it was, and then like even Snoop tried to go back to the well and do Vapors on his second album, and it didn't hit.
I mean, there was a Nas and Mary J. Blige record that flipped Wu-Tang Triumph a number of years ago, but like there's always like random, but it never really made much of a splash at all.
You know what, bro? That's why I'm glad he's here. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
You probably don't need to.
Yeah,
Don't.
I mean,
do that.
again, not a terrible record, but also just like, again, like you're talking, some of these records are, I mean, Jay's Imaginary Play is an iconic record.
To me, it is for sure.
For actual, hip hop fans. So, it takes a lot to like really propel it, or even kind of get it nose and nose with the original.
I have one submission that I would like to put in front of the court. It's Elzai's Elmatic. That
man, look,
project is very, very, very good.
Let me shout out Mr. Kinetic one time, because we actually got into a Twitter argument where he got mad at me because I was pushing for Elmatic so hard.
Elmatic is really good, bro.
Yeah,
I have the poster over there.
Yeah, they killed that.
When I think about this conversation, I less think about like song remakes and more so like when a producer is using an obvious sample that was obviously used in a previous song and kind of flipped it in a different particular type of way. Or if I hear like on Chance's new record, I don't know if you heard it yet, but there's like one moment in one of the songs, I don't remember the name of it, but it's
the one with Do or Die.
Well, there's that one.
Flip.
There's that one, but there was like a direct reference in like the cadence of like something he was doing that was a direct
Anita
reference.
Baker. There was the one where he kind of does the Anita Baker chorus. I think that one was I can't remember the title.
Yeah, I mean it's not important, but like it. That's what I think about, because I can't really think of any songs that stand out. Like
you thinking more original sample flips that turn into dope records? Is that where you're leaning?
I'm thinking more so somebody takes a sample that is known to have been flipped before and then turns it. To me, this Cardi record kind of sounds like, because of how she's rapping and everything, and it's different too. You know what I mean? Like it's not like a remake. Like she's doing her own thing with it. It's like boss shit. You know what I mean? But like it's capitalism bar. Shouts to Brad. It's like I'm not interested in it. It's like, okay, cool. It's like what you said, Jay. Is like kind of
tone deaf.
Yeah, tone deaf a little bit, but at the same time, like I feel like she did it in a very tasteful way. But when I think about this, I just think about producers that kind of like they do that intentionally. It's like I know this has been flipped over here. I'm going to flip it in a similar type of way to pay some homage, in
the
a type
90s,
way.
That's real.
They used to do it a lot. Like it would be a lot of songs on the radio that were the same exact sample, just flipped differently. Like Big Papa was sample Between the Sheets. Yeah. And the Brat used it.
She did.
On Functified. Somebody else used that exact same beat too. I can't remember exactly who. But I feel like there was a segment of time where multiple producers were putting out the exact same sample on purpose because it was recognizable.
Yeah, it felt like it.
Yeah. At one point, I think like the DeBarge Stay With Me that most people know from.
Yeah, that's a good
Shanti
one.
And
yeah, but they most they know
that's
from
a good one.
The remix to One More Chance. I mean, I remember there was a record of Funkmaster Flex, the Safe Sex No Breaks. That was one MVP, the original MVP that a lot of people know from. Big L had that sample. So it was like in a short amount of time, it was like there was 3 people, like DeBarge was getting 3 different checks.
Yeah.
But I think that was also just prominent coming out of the 80s where like literally James Brown was sampled on every single record that came out. Like I think that there was just a different mentality at that point.
Yeah.